In 1906, in the rolling hills of Natal, South Africa, a devout girl would terrify a mission community. Her name was Clara Germana Cele, 16 years old, an orphan at a Catholic mission. Raised by nuns at St. Michael's, Clara was said to be quiet, pious, respected by teachers. Her devotion stood out among the other girls. But in August of 1906, Clara confessed something impossible. She told her priest she had made a pact with Satan himself. No one understood why. That confession changed everything. The mission grew fearful and watchful. Soon after, Clara began to show disturbing signs. Nuns said she suddenly spoke languages she had never studied: German, French, Polish. She revealed private sins and secrets during prayer. Her strength became unnatural. Witnesses claimed she hurled nuns across rooms. Several men were required to restrain her. Religious symbols provoked violent reactions. Holy water allegedly burned her skin. Crucifixes triggered feral fits. Prayers sometimes seemed only to inflame her rage. Most frightening of all, witnesses claimed levitation. They swore her body hovered feet above the ground. The nuns could only watch in terror. The mission called for help. Priests were summoned. 2 missionaries arrived to perform the sacred rite. They prepared for an exorcism. Prayers began, and the mission hall filled with dread. They invoked the name of Christ, reading scripture aloud. Clara screamed in guttural voices and cursed in unknown tongues. Her eyes burned with an intensity witnesses described as unnatural. Her body twisted and lunged beyond ordinary pain. Nuns and men struggled to restrain her. For 2 full days they battled, invoking Christ and refusing to yield. The ritual continued without pause. On the 2nd day, after relentless prayer, Clara suddenly collapsed. A long, loud cry filled the hall, then an eerie silence. Those present believed the demon had been expelled. Clara returned to a gentle, remorseful state. She expressed deep remorse and clung to faith. The mission moved on, but memories lingered. Word of her case would spread beyond South Africa. Her case sits alongside other documented exorcisms in history. Stories of possession transcended borders and time. But what truly happened to Clara remains debated. Was it demonic possession, or a medical condition mistaken for the supernatural? We move now to the confrontation that defined her story. 2 priests, including Father Erasmus Horner, led the rite with scripture and prayer. They relied on ancient rites and holy objects. The battle to free Clara began in earnest. She screamed in guttural voices and cursed the priests in unknown tongues. The sound unnerved everyone in the room. She spat and lunged, almost feral in motion. Witnesses reported she spoke and mocked them in languages she never learned. Yet the priests continued, invoking Christ with steady voices. Scripture became the weapon in the ritual. At times, witnesses swore her whole body rose off the bed. She hovered several feet, then crashed back down. They held fast despite the violence. After unceasing prayer, something changed. She collapsed. A single loud cry echoed through the hall. Then silence. A moment they took as deliverance. Clara returned to a gentle, devout state and showed remorses. The nuns who witnessed the events were forever altered. They never forgot what they had seen. Accounts survive but are filtered through fear and faith. Skeptics suggest epilepsy, psychosis, or hysteria as possible explanations. Medical diagnoses could explain convulsions and altered states. But for those who saw levitation and strange tongues, there was no doubt. They believed they had witnessed a battle between heaven and hell. Clara later lived quietly at the mission with no further signs of possession. Her story became one of the most documented and disturbing exorcism cases. More than a century later, debates still circle her case. Historians, theologians, and doctors all weigh different truths. Was it a demonic force, or an illness misread by a fearful community? Skeptics propose medical explanations. Believers hold that certain signs defy medical answers. Whatever the cause, Clara's story lingers as a chilling reminder of the thin line between faith and fear. It asks us to consider what we can explain and what we cannot. Over a century later, Clara Germana Cele remains an echo in the history of possession, the girl who faced the devil and lived to tell the tale. What would you believe if you had been there? If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more deep dives into unexplained history.